I'm Myra.
And I'm Tressa. We are fancy marketing people with Union, a Wyoming-based telecommunication company. Yes, Wyoming really does exist. We proudly serve the Rocky Mountain region.
On this podcast, we will feature businesses, organizations, nonprofits, and influential people from Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming.
Our mission is to highlight those who inspire their communities daily.
We believe this makes us truly authentic because a journey of 1,000 miles always begins with a single step.
Hi, Myra.
Hi, Tressa. We're here again. I wonder how many people are going to...
On a bright Monday morning.
They're going to despise us saying we're here again.
I don't think so. They want to keep hearing from us.
Well, that's true.
Right?
I do feel like we should insert, like, the Eminem audio. Guess who's back? Back again.
Back again.
Yeah.
Myra's back.
just a little, not the whole thing, because we might not be in business anymore. But anywho, what did you do this weekend?
Oh, this weekend. So we had to get our deck redone this year. We built the deck when we bought the house, I think, in '96. So the wood underneath it's paid its dues, right? So we had to get that redone, and it was finally completed. And one of my biggest joys in the summer is my deck furniture and my flowers. So Saturday, I spent most of the day getting my deck furniture out, ran and got flowers, and I definitely overshot the potting soil. So this poor gal at Ace Hardware helped me load 8 bags of potting soil. I used 3.
3? You bought 8?
Yeah, I bought 8.
What are you doing with the rest?
I don't know. I guess I'm going to store it till next year. I mean, unless somebody needs some potting soil out there, I got you covered.
Maybe you could hide a body with it.
I think I spent like $100 on potting soil and used 3 bags.
So you bought stock in potting soil this weekend.
I'm one of those people that I always go overboard. I want to have, I'm paranoid of running out of things. So I guess I kind of am a hoarder. I hate to even admit that, but.
You're a doomsday potting soil prepper.
We got to have flowers. If doomsday is coming, it's going to be beautiful. We're going out in color.
It's going out pretty. I like that.
Yeah. That was my day. And then went shopping yesterday. My best friend and I, it's her birthday today, and mine's Thursday. So we have an annual tradition where we go shop and we buy each other a gift, whatever we pick out. So
and you pick out the same things, though.
We normally pick out the same things, usually shoes, which that's exactly what we got yesterday. So free birds. Fun. Yeah, so it was a good weekend. Yeah. What about you?
Are those the birthday shoes that you're wearing?
These are,
For those in listener land, she's sporting some hot red, heeled, buckled, strapped free birds.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, very comfortable. They don't sound comfortable in my description. I don't think anybody would think they were comfortable by my words, but yeah.
How about you? How was your weekend?
Well, I went a little mad a couple weekends in a row now and have cleaned out my whole house. And I think I really ended up with 30 trash bags full of just things. And I decided also in my state of madness to restart my Poshmark. So I've been side hustling and started it last night. So not even a full 24 hours, and have already hustled out about 6. So
can't beat that.
Yeah, I don't know. So if you need a side gig, guys, my Poshmark is rocking.
Think about that. Yard sales are no more. It's just all digital now. You can sell your stuff to somebody in New York City.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't really even sell my things anymore because I usually just give them to people or friends, or because I made the choice to buy all these things that I don't really need. So I usually just give. But I just was like, all this stuff is sitting here. Why not try it again, because yard sales are hit or miss. And yeah. My husband appreciates it more than me, because I could just throw everything away and he just sees dollar signs flying into the trash bin. Yeah. And then...
Well, you do like to set money on fire. Myra.
I'm very good at setting my money on fire. Yep, 100%.
So I could see that.
Yeah. So
what's the saying? One person's trash is another person's treasure.
Yeah, so somebody's really going to benefit.
Exactly.
And I don't even wear my clothes more than once or twice, which is kind of sad. That's so sad to admit. And some of them even have tags. They're getting really great things.
Go check out Myra's Poshmark.
Yeah, go check out my Poshmark, guys. It's a gold mine, I promise. But anywho, today our guest is a friend of ours who I won't mess up their name this time, like I did someone else a few episodes ago. But we've had a partnership. The company's had a partnership for over 20 years with this individual and what they do, but not this person personally. I'm ruining it already.
Or Brad. How old is Brad?
I know.
Now?
I'm like, Brad, you're 100. So anyways, we have Brad Poe here. Brad Poe is the general manager for Learfield and Wyoming Sports Properties, which is in association with Wyoming Athletics, the University of Wyoming. And welcome, Brad, who is not 100 years old.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Thanks for the intro there, Myra and Tressa. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us today, Brad. Do you want to just maybe start out a little bit talking about, we talked about you're the general manager, but what does that entail? What's a day in the life of Brad Poe look like with Learfield Sports?
Well, thank you for having me on. A day in the life changes frequently, which is good. It keeps it interesting, right? So from our end, and our main role here is to find great partners like yourself, find those businesses and companies that want to align with Wyoming Cowboy fans and alumni that are all over the state, region, nationally, all over the world, frankly, that want to brand their business at Wyoming Cowboy football, basketball games, volleyball, wrestling, tennis, soccer, rodeo, you name it. And our role is to go out there and talk with those partners and bring them on board and make sure they're happy with what they receive and create customizable packages that help their business grow through Cowboy football and Cowgirl basketball and all the different events we have. So,
yeah, shout out to all the other amazing sports.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Can't
great.
forget all the other amazing sports.
No,
Yeah,
there's a lot there for sure.
There is a lot there. We kind of focus more on like the football and the basketball, but yeah, you kind of forget about all the other rodeo and
Wrestling,
soccer.
Well, oh gosh, I don't even think you have soccer. Did I make that up?
Soccer, yes.
Oh, you do have soccer.
No, you didn't make it up.
Okay, there's
we do have soccer. Soccer's great. They won the Mountain West. So
yeah, they did. I know they're amazing.
Yeah.
So sorry, Wyoming soccer.
All good.
Cowgirls, you guys rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with this space, a lot of what happens through what you do is with these sponsorships and these partnerships. So what does it look like if people didn't sponsor, businesses weren't engaged, or you didn't have the alumni wanting to give back, or the people throughout the state? What does that look like for the athletic program?
Well, I wouldn't have a job, and I wouldn't be on this call with you today. So,
Yeah.
First and foremost, no. It's vitally important for us to have, those businesses and partners and people that want to donate and support the Cowboy Joe Club and buy season tickets and be a corporate sponsor and be engaged. And without that, which we kind of got a glimpse of that in the COVID era, of what it looks like without having games and now having people, and we're able to put on some, but I don't know, there's a lot of factors that affects, right? Financially, sure. And then that affects the ability to retain and hire coaches and support, student athletes with scholarships and so on. And so that's one big component of it. But I think the other part of it, and when you talk about, that authentic Wyoming, people love their Cowboys and Cowgirls in the state, right? Our logo is the state's logo. It's the rodeo logo. It's something that people gravitate to and have a lot of pride in. And, it's the brown and gold. And that's something that, we noticed when COVID was around, right? That people needed that, right? Athletics, going to a football game or a basketball game can act as a release and a break from the rest of the world, right? And it's a place where everybody can come together and enjoy and, have that experience and meet up old college friends. And, it's just something that is such a prominent part of the state and a need. And having those sponsors that support that, it's a must. We need to have that, and we're grateful for the partners we have. And being the only four-year school in the state too, that's a special thing. When I talk to my peers in other states that have two or three or four other four-year schools, or they're in a market like just down the way on the Front Range, when I talk to my peers at Colorado State and Colorado and Air Force and Denver DU, I mean, they also have the Rockies and the Broncos and the Avs and the Nuggets. And, there's just a lot of competition and a lot of different focus. And we are, again, blessed, fortunate in Wyoming to have one school that everybody wants to support and get around. And so we don't take that for granted by any means. But it's a special thing that we have here in the state of Wyoming.
Yeah, it really is. And you were talking about Cowboy fans, and I've been a Cowboy fan for 30 years, and my husband and I always joke that it can be pretty tough to be a Cowboy fan because a lot of times they're not at the top, right? They're not going to like the NCAA or those type of things. But what do you think keeps people dedicated in the state of Wyoming to the Cowboys and Cowgirl athletic teams?
Well, I think there's a couple pieces of that. So we have been fortunate in football to make a handful of bowl games under Coach Bowl, which has been fun. And then obviously a couple NCAA tournament experiences. But there are days, one where, we still love our Cowboys and Cowgirls, even if, the performance on the field was different that day. Or living in wonderful Wyoming can you even get to the game with a blizzard? If you live out in Evanston and, you're trying to make a decision if you're making the trip out, that's a big factor in this state, right? And so I think the biggest part of that is just being aware of that. And I think people love coming here and still being a part of it just because it's what you do. It becomes a tradition. I mean, when we talk about, for example, we also manage the Cowboy Sports Network, which we have 27 radio affiliates, 24 of those in the state of Wyoming, that carry Cowboy football, men's basketball, and women's basketball. And most of those stations in those markets have been carrying games for 40 plus years. And everybody knows it's a tradition in that market to go to that station to tune in on Saturday at 2 o'clock to listen to the Cowboys. And I think when people come here, there's that experience of being around old college friends, and maybe they're bringing, their children back to their alma mater in hopes that they go to school at UW. And it's just that experience. It's that thing you do, right? In the state, it's what everybody gravitates to. It's that one common pulse that people want to align with. And that's something that we talk about a lot when we talk with our partners on, how do you want your brand to be aligned with our fans and that affinity they have. That's one of the biggest things I think that's fun about college athletics compared to professional sports is you have that affinity. You went to school for 4+ years, maybe more for some, right? And, you went there and you had a good time, and you figured out life, or you thought you figured out life, or you grew up there and you had people around you. And so there's that deep connection and that meaningful association that people have that keeps you coming back and keeps you engaged and wanting to be there. And, and so while we would love everybody to come to every home football game every year, this year we have 7, there's a lot of people around the state that can make 2 or 3, and we're grateful for that, right? That they make that commitment to come down and do that. So I think it's just it's that pride factor. It's that thing that people want to do and be a part of.
Yeah, I agree. I come from a different land where there's like 12 state schools, and then you can choose even from there, like private. There's all sorts of different colleges and the pride around it. And then you have professional teams nearby too for both basketball and football, and even hockey. So people spread their love around in different places. But I agree with you when it comes to being in collegiate sports. I love collegiate sports so much because you have a different pride associated with those teams because you put your blood, sweat, and tears in it, or a family member did, or something. People have this emotional connection and tied to the school. Which also makes things a little crazy. I know for me, I get a little emotional during
no, that happens
during basketball season. I lose my mind. So,
Yeah.
But
well, and that's what makes it fun, right? Is that emotion, right? And people getting so far engaged with the tradition or history of it. And, my grandpa had these seats 50 years ago and our families kept them, this whole time. And yeah, it's just, and people get very passionate and it's just a different emotional connection. And that's what's fun about college athletics.
Yeah. Do you see a
It's
change?
different.
Yeah. Like, have you seen a change? I know there's been some wonderful athletes that have come from the program, but over the last few years, I'm familiar with these people. So if I'm familiar with them,
Yeah.
they're pretty popular people. But like Logan Wilson with the Bengals, Larry Nance, he went to the NBA. I think he played with Cleveland. I don't know where he's at now.
He did.
And then
Yep.
Josh Allen, of course, with the Bills. I almost said the Bulls, and that would have been horrible. So the Bills. I was running tabs in my head, and I didn't want to ruin that because we love Josh Allen. And we now are Buffalo Bills fans all of a sudden. So with these really amazing athletes and this star focus, and there's so much attention around, like with the Bengals going to the Super Bowl, and then you've got Josh Allen. He's just a star in general. And then here he is on I believe he's on the cover of Madden. And there's never been a Buffalo Bills player ever on the cover of Madden. Wow. And then that's even cooler because it's a Wyoming an athlete from the program. Do you feel like people are more invested or interested more than before with Wyoming athletics? Or do you feel like people are sponsoring more or people are donating? Do you feel like there's been a change?
Yeah, there has. There has because of that. There's been a change just on our program stature across the country. We see it with the NFL. So those are the people that that you mentioned that are the stars. Andrew Wingard at Jacksonville Jaguars. So out of the Mountain West Conference, Boise State does lead the way in this. I think at 30 active, but we are at 27 active.
Wow.
Wyoming alums on NFL roster. So we're number 2 in the conference for that, which is huge. And so when you start to get some of those players to make a presence and be there and be engaged, it helps draw some attention and some notice to other NFL scouts. Like, what are they doing up there? What's so different? What's so unique? What type of program are they running? And so those things definitely help quite a bit. From our end, one of the phrases I always like to use is legitimacy and affiliation, right? And so what it does is people want to gravitate and align to other successful people that have gone on and done that, right? And so when you see those players come through and you see what the program's doing and the facility enhancements we've done, you get people that want to align with that and connect with that. And so we have seen an increase in that. Season tickets has been one area. A lot of that depends on your schedule and who we're playing, and so that makes a big difference. But it does help increase your stature. That is a positive. And then I think the coaches talk about it a lot from a recruiting perspective, right?
Yeah.
What that does for them to come and see, because that's the other thing I get a lot of is there's a lot of people that have their own assumptions of Wyoming, whatever that may be. And then they come here and they see our facilities like, man, I didn't know you guys had this. This is amazing. This is better than my pro team. Like when Josh Allen was here, he had there was a lot of NFL teams that would bring in their receivers to train and be a part of that and just kind of test out Josh before the draft. And the New York Jets receivers were here one year, and a couple of the guys on the team, one went to Stanford, but he immediately said when he walked in our locker room, man, I didn't know you guys, this is better than my locker room I had at Stanford. This is better than some of the NFL locker rooms I've been in, right? And people just don't know that and see that. And again, we are very grateful for the state and the support from alums and donors to have facilities like that, to be able to help continue to grow the program and do that. I mean, we're getting ready to do the West Side renovation to the stadium. We're starting that after this season. And that whole overall project's a $100 million project. And we're doing all new seating and concessions and restrooms and glove box and loge box and new press box. And so all those things are the trickle down effect from that success. So it's, again, I've said this many times, and we are grateful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like for Union to continue to be a partner with University of Wyoming and the athletic department specifically is so valuable, because what you talked about, Brad, on bringing people together and the connection that people have. And this is, with our state being 500,000 people throughout the state, we have no other professional athletics here. And so it gives people an opportunity to come together, right, and have that nostalgia and have those traditions. And, one of the things, I haven't missed very many homecoming games. That's kind of been one of the traditions for my husband and I, and meeting back up with our friends, that we knew in our college days. So it's so valuable for us to have something in the state that people can enjoy and galvanize around, and it brings that connection to, I think, everybody throughout the state of Wyoming. So I did want to ask you a question about, do you have one experience that you might be able to share with us that was maybe one of your most memorable experiences that you've had with UW athletics?
Yeah.
UW athletics, yeah.
Oh, well, there are several. I'm going to my 11th season here, and I think a couple, the Mountain West championship game in football we had in 2016, beating number 13 ranked Boise State was huge. To go to the Mountain West championship that year, and host it here in Laramie, that was a lot of fun to be able to do that. I think it was, I don't know, 10 below that day for that game. So when you talk about Wyoming Cowboy fans being tough and Cowboy tough, as Coach Bull says, they showed up for that and proved that. So that was fun to see. I think beating Missouri out of the SEC here a few years ago in 2019 was huge. Those type of wins are just significant for our program and for a lot of the Mountain West schools. I think one of the things personally that's been fun to see is, we started about 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, partnering and working with University of Wyoming Rodeo, the rodeo team.
Mm-hmm.
And last year we did, I guess it'll be 2 years ago now, 2022, we did, the years all kind of fade after COVID, right? You don't know what years are what and how it all works.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that conversation with a lot of people, but 2022, we had the UW Rodeo, and it's in the Hanson Arena, and it's an age facility a little bit, but we were able to go in and obviously you guys partner rodeo and have that, but put up a bunch of signs from sponsors, and we brought in a video board and did a fireworks show and music, and just created the experience that frankly people get accustomed to when you go to football and basketball games, right? But not a college rodeo. And it was just one of those moments where we were setting up, and I had a handful of some of the rodeo student athletes come over to me and shake my hand and tell me, "Thank you, sir. We've never come out to fireworks before. And man, this is awesome. I feel so jacked to have all these people here support me and do this." And it's kind of that whole philosophy of look good, feel good, play good. But just they could see all of these sponsors and all these people engage with them and actually support them and pay attention to them, right? Because they've always been a club sport on campus, and nobody paid it, nobody focused on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they could see the difference. And I'm now 20 years working in sports, and that's the first time I've ever had any type of a student athlete come up and say, "Thank you for making my experience better," right? And so the heartstrings and whatever else on that, I'm like, man, that just feels right. Right. And our partners over there are like, yes, it just feels right. You get the yes, sir, yes, ma'am. There's a little bit of that Americana piece with it. There's, they're just grateful for that support and that engagement from sponsors. And so for me at Wyoming, that's one of my highlights of just feeling like, hey, what I'm doing is actually making a difference, right? Everything you do, you want to make a difference on, or why are you doing it? And so that was something that hit home. Like, yeah, this feels good. I'm glad we're doing this, glad we're supporting them, and let's continue to do it. And so that's been fun. And rodeo in Wyoming, I mean, come on, that's our logo. And that's,
yeah.
we joke around about how big, there's people here of the cowboy football and basketball and rodeo, and it may not be in that order, right? And there is that love all over the state for rodeo. And I know you guys are aware of that and you support UW Rodeo and obviously your significant partner at Cheyenne Frontier Days and
Right.
you know, and I'm probably blanking on other rodeos you support around the state, but I know you do a significant amount in that area and it means a lot to people here. So that would be one in a long-winded way of answering your question. That would be one that stands out to me. So
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, rodeo is the official sport of Wyoming. I'm pretty sure. I think
it is.
I've seen.
It's
Yeah,
Cowboy State.
Yeah. So, of course, it's important. Yeah. Well, okay. This is a question that I want to ask. I don't know if you can even answer it, but with San Diego State going to the Final Four, there have been a lot of attention probably on the Mountain West and what the Mountain West looks like. I know that San Diego State's choosing to try to take some different paths in life. But what has that meant for other Mountain West schools to have a Mountain West school in the Final Four and to have that much attention to make it there? Because, I mean, I'm a part of a culture that makes lots of Final Fours and championships. And so I know, like, what that looks like for the ACC and how that attention is put on there, and it kind of rates your caliber, kind of like what you were talking about earlier with having some star athletes come from the programs. Have you seen a different attention on the Mountain West when it comes to that, or do you feel like eyes are on the Mountain West, or people want to leave the Mountain West, or what's happening? Would UW ever leave the Mountain West? Like, what's going on with the Mountain West, Brad?
All right. Well, so one, we have the Mountain West in basketball, since we're talking about basketball on this, it's been a solid conference for a long time. And we've had, between San Diego State, Wyoming's been in there, Boise State's done well, Utah State, New Mexico, UNLV, all these programs that have done well showing up makes a big difference. It's great. I know last year we had, or I guess 2 years ago now, we had 4 or 5 of us in there and we all lost the first game. So that was not a good look, right?
Yeah.
And then this last year with San Diego State doing what they did was very, very impressive. And there's payouts and all that from a financial standpoint, from TV deals that help the conference financially and help each school within that. I think we'll really see the effects of it come this basketball season when they start looking at preseason rankings and how, the Mountain West is respected in those rankings, and where we line up is a big part of that. As far as conference realignment, that is always a moving target, right? And I know San Diego State is considering that right now. I'm not familiar with all, nor am I privy to all the conversations or want to be with all the, conference ADs and schools and how all that works right now. But there's always going to be some movement on that. I mean, Utah was in the conference, the TCU was in the conference, and they've moved on and done what they've done. And so we're very happy in the Mountain West. I know the Mountain West is looking at possibly some potential options, whether there is other schools that are interested in moving into the conference or not. That's something that the committee, the conference will determine what makes sense and what brands align and what value do they bring to our institutions in the conference. And then, obviously in today's world, a lot of it's focused on TV and media rights and revenue. And so that's a big factor. And that's why schools do leave or look at that is, can I go somewhere else and elevate the profile of our school, but then also make more money on a TV deal, whether it's the Pac-12 or the Big Ten or whatever. I mean, that's why we see USC and UCLA, stalwarts, and they've been forever in the Pac-12 going to the Big Ten. Well, the Big Ten can now deliver New York, Chicago, and LA from a TV viewership standpoint, and that's significant, and the dollars are there. So that is the opposite of what we're talking about on the pageantry of college athletics, in my opinion. On
the money side of it.
Yep.
It's the money side of it, right? And that's just something I think college athletics, in my opinion, should be careful of over time here as we navigate this is, not always chasing the dollar and being aware of, rivalries and history and traditions. And, because you start doing that after a while, maybe it loses luster, or maybe things change, or maybe there's, the fandom is different. I don't know, but nobody knows that. That's just assumptions here and there. But I don't know. College football is a very popular sport and people love it. And I think that will always continue. it just, landscape might look a little different over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Well, Brad, we are about out of time. So one final question for you before we end today.
all right.
What's your personal favorite sport, or do you have one?
Ooh, my personal favorite sport. Well, I love college football. I know that's an easy answer,
Yeah.
but I love college football. For all the same reasons, right? I grew up in Idaho. I went to school at the University of Idaho. I was one of 13 in my family to go there. So when you talk about that connection, that's what it does in college, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always grown up around it. I mean, when we were farming growing up, harvesting sugar beets, we were listening to Idaho Vandal football in the truck because we couldn't make every game, right? And
Right.
there's just something special about that. So I've always, college football. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, so really I don't watch a lot of other NFL games, but I'll watch the Packers play. And then actually, I love golf. I love watching golf. The Masters is like the sound of spring. It all ties into like tournament, like that time of year. And listening to Jim Nance, at the Masters is amazing, and I love watching that. And I was fortunate enough in 2022 to take my dad there to the Masters and be there in person, and that was just a tremendous experience. And so yeah, I love watching golf, which I love watching it. So
Yeah, I totally.
if only it would translate over to my game.
Yeah, I know, right? If you could just watch it.
You could just watch it and absorb. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can hit that shot. No, I can't.
Yeah, I love that because that's how it is with us. When I think about sports, I think about the connection because not everybody can go to the schools or can go to these universities that they love, but there's a connection somewhere, whether it's with their grandparent or their great-grandparent, or it was on the radio, or it was just in their home, or they had a player that they just really idolized in those collegiate sports, and they just watched them. And when I think about the way I feel about my college, the University of North Carolina, I get the same feeling. Like, not only was I an alumni, but I think about the tradition before anyone ever even went there in my family, what it was like to gather around and watch the games and keep up with the games and keep up with Michael Jordan, of course. So there's just those feelings and around it. And so I love that. And I don't know. Well, you're not playing them anytime soon, but I will come to the Appalachian State game because there's also an emotional feeling there. Friends, family, the bestest of friends are all alumni. So I will come see that game this season.
Well, yeah, and I got to put in a plug for our first game, too, on September 2nd. We host the Texas Tech Red Raiders here in Laramie, and that's a 5:30 kick on CBS, so the main national CBS. So it's always good to have national TV shine on Wyoming and in Laramie and at the University of Wyoming. So it's fun, but we'll see you at App State. I'll see you before that at CFD. But
I will see you.
Anyway, but we'll get you taken care of there. You let me know. So
all right. Well, thank you so much.
I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you. Seriously, we really do appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Cool.
Thanks again for including me, and good talking with you.
Yeah. Well, until next time.
Stay authentic.
Go Pokes.
Yeah.
Stay authentic and go Pokes.
There you go.